So here's an update on Eton. If you've been a Patreon member, you kind of already know what's been going on with this guy, but the reason why I haven't had too many updates on him is because I've been traveling a lot and really haven't been able to be very consistent. So one of my farriers, Zorik Michaeli, who's also an incredible horseman and trainer, has been helping me with Eton, and so this is about probably he's had him for 30 days for me because again schedule just got crazy and I really wanted Eton to stay in consistent work. So even being a trainer, trainers also need help from other trainers. So I really trust Zorik with helping Eton further his progression, and I always think it's important to learn from other trainers as well, because everyone does it a little bit different, but the more we can learn, the more tools you have in your toolbox. So I'm very appreciative of Zorik helping me with Eton, and so here's a little video update. Got to watch him go, and he's letting Eton move his feet. So as we know, he's a very forward-thinking horse, and Eton as well has probably been one of the toughest Mustangs I've had as far as fear-driven and flight in a Mustang. So here you can see Zorik has a very calm and quiet demeanor. He just lets him move around. This is a 100-foot round pen, I believe. And it's really good for Eton to be able to move as much as he would like. So in just watching Eton, you see he's got that ear on Zorik. Zorik's just kind of ignoring him a little bit. And he starts to kind of come in, kind of off the rail some. He'll start making his circles smaller and smaller. And again, it's just nice to watch him work. See that ear flickering back and forth. And now Zorik's kind of talking about kind of his body and his shoulders, and how he also with Eton has, each horse has two sides of the brain. They've got the reactive side and the thinking side. So Eton tends to really engage on the reactive side. So a lot of the work that we've been doing is trying to engage that thinking side. And for him, that's the left side, which is what he's much more comfortable with than the right. And so you see he's a little nervous here, but Zorik is not bothered by it. He's a very confident rider, which is really good. You see his body position. He stays back behind the horse and he wraps his legs around, so then the horse can really feel confidence and can feel balanced. And there you saw Eton got a little worried, but Zorik stayed back behind him and really doesn't want to pull on him or anything if he gets nervous, because that just makes it worse. So he's just going to stay back behind him here. He just did another circle to the left to again help that left side of the brain, which is the thinking side for Eton. And you'll start to see his ears go from kind of being back and listening the whole time to then they start going forward and to start thinking a little bit more and stop worrying so much about Zorik on his back. And there you saw him kind of swap out behind, and so Zorik put him on another circle. So he does a lot of the circling to the left because he's found that kind of really helps restart his brain up a little bit. And again, you can see Eton has a really nice canter, really good cadence. So again, he lost his balance. He'll do another circle, help the shoulder and the hind leg. It's just really interesting to watch. And he also, right now, in the training for him, he wants to have like very soft, kind of no contact with the bit. So he's not asking Eton to round or anything like that. He's just asking him to give some soft responses to the bit. And he will keep him kind of in this light, soft contact for another month or two to really work on Eton's confidence in getting stronger under the saddle. So now he's going to the right. The right side, he's a little bit stiffer in the rib cage, but you can see he can start to take a little feel. And again, it's super soft contact. He's not adding a lot of pressure. And here he's just asking for a little softness on the left side. And he'll just hold a little bit until he softens. And then he lets go. And then going to the right, a little soft feels. And he's not expecting the softness that he had on the left, on the right side. He's looking for just a little bit of flexion, like right there. A little, because that's all he can really, Eton can give him right now. And then he goes back up into the canter work. So he really kind of plays around with going slower and then having him up in the canter. And you can see Eton's expression starts to really look good and a lot less worried. His head's coming down, getting more level. And he's going to change directions. He really gives him, so to change directions, if you'll see, it's very subtle. He'll turn his head, turn his body, and then he uses the bit as the last. And then he goes back to the soft feel. Now he asks for the stop. You'll see he does soft gives to let go to get the stop. Eton got a little nervous. And then he goes back to a nice loose rein, getting him to walk in a straight line. Kind of in the beginning with Eton, he was almost drunk when you were working him because he really didn't know how to go in a straight line. So there you see, sometimes Eton will get a little worried and kind of jump forward, and you'll see Zork just stays behind him and doesn't go to pulling right away. He doesn't pull on the bit. He just waits for Eton to come back to him. So that was really interesting to watch. And so here, this is a second time that I came for a visit, and he is working him in his arena. And again, working on getting his balance so he doesn't quite swap off so much. And then I had a chance to be able to hop on and ride him. And again, I'm working on staying back behind him with my body position. Sometimes as English riders, we tend to want to ride a little bit more forward. And for Eton, that makes him a little bit nervous because of the balance. So working on my position, really staying back over my hips and having my legs wrapped around him. And then he pops into the canter lovely. And I drop him back down to the trot. And then I went to ask for a canter, knew he was going to pick it up wrong, so I did a little half halt with my body. And he has such a lovely canter. It really is fun to ride because there's a fair amount of scope in it. And I was really happy with how he was feeling and happy with the progress that we are doing. Now I'm going to change directions. Again, keeping light contact. Asking for the canter. Going to the left. And so really good, really pleased. I'm just going to find a nice place to stop. You saw I never had to touch the reins for the stop, and I gave him a good rub. So really happy with Eton, and I'm excited to see his progress.